Okay, so get this right. Today we're diving headfirst into AI Singularity, and let me tell you, after poring over all these articles you sent, I'm like, seriously hooked, but also kind of freaked out, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those topics.
In a good way, of course.
Yeah.
It's like, remember that thing in Einstein's theory of general relativity? Black holes, that point of absolutely no return where all the rules of physics just kind of poof.
Oh, yeah, like a singularity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that in the tech world, especially with AI. Basically, picture this. What if someday AI gets so smart, so crazy advanced, that it just blows past human intelligence? And I don't mean by a little bit.
Like exponentially smarter.
Yeah, like we're figuring out how to use a can opener and it's already designed a self-sustaining Mars colony kind of thing.
Well, and the thing is, this whole singularity concept, it's been around for ages, really. Like way back when you had mathematician John von Neumann, right? Early 20th century. He was already pondering this stuff.
Oh, really? I had no idea it went back that far.
Oh, yeah. And of course, science fiction writers, always ahead of the curve, those guys, they grabbed onto it.
Speaking of, you're a big sci-fi fan, right? Ever read Vernor Vinge?
I've heard the name.
He's the one who really put singularity on the map, like back in 1983, with his novel Marooned in Real Time. And get this, he predicted it could all go down as early as 2030.
Wow, 2030. That's...
Well, I know, right? Practically tomorrow. But, okay, before we spiral into a full-on sci-fi meltdown here, we got to break down what we're actually talking about when we say superintelligence, because, like, there's a difference between Siri remembering your grocery list and a machine that can, outthink Einstein. Right?
Huge difference. And those articles you sent, they do a great job of outlining that. Specifically, the difference between artificial general intelligence, AGI, and artificial superintelligence, ASI.
Right, because AGI is definitely impressive. Like, imagine an AI chef who can make any dish perfectly, any cuisine, you name it, they've mastered it.
Exactly. Incredible skill, for sure. But it's not quite mind-blowing.
Okay, so then where does ASI come in? What's that all about?
That's where it gets really wild. See, ASI isn't just about mastering existing skills. It's about inventing entirely new ones. Think of it this way, AGI. That's the chef who perfected every recipe. ASI invented cooking itself. It wouldn't just play chess, it would invent a whole new game, light years more complex, with strategies we can't even comprehend.
And it'd probably still win every time.
Of course.
Okay, now that's the kind of aha moment I live for.
It puts it into perspective.
Totally. It's like we're over here still figuring out how to use all the features on our phones, and ASI is already building spaceships powered by black holes or something.
And that's the point. ChatGPT, those things, they're incredible, don't get me wrong. But they're closer to that master chef working with existing recipes. ASI. That's a whole different ballgame, something we haven't even begun to see in reality.
So it's less about if this singularity will happen and more about when and how it all goes down.
Exactly. It's already in motion. Think about that Deep Blue versus Kasparov chess match back in the day. That was huge. A machine outmaneuvering a world champion at his own game. That was a step toward singularity.
Right. I see what you mean. So it's like all these incremental changes that sneak up on you. One day, AI is writing a decent email, and the next, it's composing symphonies that make Mozart sound like elevator music.
And that chess match, that was just one tiny step for AI, but a giant leap towards singularity, and we're seeing similar leaps all over. Art, music, even scientific discovery. Singularity might not be this big explosion, but more like a gradual sunrise.
Oh, I like that.
The light is already starting to peek over the horizon.
Which leads to the big question. When will we see that full sunrise? When should we set our calendars for the singularity party?
Well, now, if we're going by Ray Kurzweil's predictions, we're looking at something like 2045.
Okay, so not too far off. I might still be around for that.
You and me both. But other folks, they say it's further out, maybe even centuries from now. The thing is, getting hung up on a date on a calendar, that might be missing the point entirely.
So you're saying it's not about the destination, but the journey itself.
Exactly. And that journey has already begun.
So less flipping a switch, more like turning a dial. We're slowly cranking up the intelligence, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And with each turn of that dial, the world changes a little bit more.
And just like turning a dial, we're constantly adjusting, adapting to this new normal. Think about it. Self-driving cars, facial recognition, AI writing code. That was all science fiction not that long ago. Now it's becoming as normal as using a smartphone. Things are shifting under our feet as we speak.
So, okay, maybe the singularity isn't going to be this big Hollywood blockbuster event. But even if it's more of a slow burn, a gradual thing, it still makes you wonder, right? what kind of world are we stepping into? Is it going to be utopia, or are we all going to end up being ruled by robot overlords?
Well, I have to say, the articles you sent, they really dig into that. And
Yeah.
I think it's smart how they don't shy away from either side of the coin, the amazing potential, but also, let's be real, those anxieties that come with this whole intelligence explosion thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we'll start with the good stuff. The reason we're even talking about this, right?
Mm.
What are some of those optimistic scenarios that get people excited?
One of the articles, I think it was the one about the future of problem solving, it talked about how AI could be the key to solving these huge problems that humanity's been wrestling with forever. Like, imagine AI cracking the code on climate change.
Okay, now that's a future I can get behind. No more doom scrolling about the planet melting. Sign me up for that.
Exactly. Or what about diseases like Alzheimer's, cancer, things that we've thrown everything at but still haven't really figured out? AI could be the answer, sifting through data, seeing patterns, leading to cures we can only dream of right now.
Right, like having an AI doctor that can diagnose and fix anything. Pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
But, and I think this is the part that makes people nervous, there's always another side to the coin. We have to talk about those potential downsides, the risks that come with all this.
You're absolutely right. Got to look at it from all angles, acknowledge the good and the, well, the not so good. One thing that comes up a lot, and I get it, is the impact on jobs. If AI can do everything faster, cheaper, better, then what happens to us? Do we all become obsolete?
Yeah, that fear of becoming obsolete, I think that's a big one. The whole robots taking our jobs scenario.
And honestly, it's not entirely unfounded. As AI gets smarter, some jobs, maybe even whole professions, they're going to be automated. We're already seeing that, right?
Yeah.
Factories, customer service, even creative fields.
It's kind of mind-blowing and also a bit unnerving. But I remember one of the articles, it made the point that, yeah, AI is going to change the job market, but it'll also create brand new industries, jobs we can't even imagine right now.
Exactly. Think about it. 100 years ago, nobody knew what a web developer was. Social media manager didn't exist. AI could do the same thing, reshape the entire landscape in ways we can't even fathom yet.
So instead of being scared of what we don't know, maybe it's about being open to those changes. But even if there are more new jobs, there's still that question of control, right? How do we make sure that AI stays a tool? A powerful tool, yeah, but still a tool we control.
And that's where things get really interesting, right? Programming a machine to do one thing, that's one thing. But what happens when they start making their own decisions, decisions that have real impact in the real world? That's the real challenge, and I think the real opportunity with AI.
It's funny. We always think of AI as this cold, calculating thing. But the more we talk about it, the more I realize it's really making us ask some pretty deep questions about ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
what does it mean to be human? What are our values? What happens to humanity when intelligence goes beyond, well, us?
Yeah.
It's like AI is holding up a mirror, right? Making us really look at ourselves and think about what it means to be human.
And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. It's not just about the tech, the algorithms. It's about us. It's about understanding what makes us tick, defining like what our values even are in a world where intelligence goes way beyond what we thought was possible.
It's like that scene in 2001, A Space Odyssey, with
Yeah.
the monolith, right? It's like this thing that shows up and suddenly we have to evolve, to rethink everything.
Just love that analogy. And in the film, it all comes down to how we react to that monolith, right?
Yeah.
Do we freak out, hide, or do we get curious, try to understand it? That's what determines everything.
So it's not about hitting the brakes on progress. It's about steering it, making sure we end up somewhere good.
Exactly. We have to ask ourselves, what do we actually want this future to look like? If we have this power, this AI, what are our ground rules? Where do we draw the line?
Because, like, once that genie's out of the bottle,
It's not going back in. And that's why these conversations, talking about this stuff, the good, the bad, it's so important.
being proactive, not reactive. Making choices today that build the world we actually want to live in tomorrow, right?
And that's where you come in, right? You listening right now. The future of AI, this isn't just some Silicon Valley tech bro thing.
This is a conversation for all of us. Doesn't matter if you're an artist or an engineer, a philosopher, or just, well, a person trying to figure it all out, like the rest of us.
This technology, it's going to touch every single one of us, so it's got to be a team effort to make sure we use it for good.
Exactly. So speak up. Ask those tough questions. Don't be afraid to challenge what you hear. If you're worried about something, say it.
Because the story of AI, it's still being written. And we all have a hand in how it ends.
And hey, maybe it's not some dystopian nightmare, Maybe it's an adventure. Humanity and AI, figuring things out together, building something amazing.
And that's a story I'd like to be a part of.
Me too. So to everyone listening, we want to hear from you. What are you hoping for? What scares you? What's your role in all of this? This would be a big conversation, and we all need to be a part of it. And hey, if you want to really get your mind blown, check out Vernor Vinge's A Fire Upon the Deep. Trust me, it's a wild ride through a universe wrestling with these exact questions. Might even recognize some familiar themes from those articles. So, there you have it, our deep dive into the world of AI Singularity. We've covered the science, the potential, the risks, the big what-if questions. But more importantly, I hope we've shown that we all have a say in this. The future of AI, it's not predetermined. It's up to us to shape it. And that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep diving deep.